Another country falls to hyperinflation. Is the USA next? Hey, everybody, you're watching Bull, Boom, Bear, Bust, back with another dose of economic reality. And yes, we are continuing to ride the bull, prepare for the bear, getting ready for what is headed to the United States of America. We see it in other parts of the world. Now, most people that I speak with in my daily interactions, when I bring up these sort of topics, will tell you it can never happen here. This is the USA. We are different. But we're going to talk about some things that may lead you to a different conclusion if you are someone that has that opinion that it can never happen here. It can never happen to us. We're the greatest country in the world, yada, yada, yada. But first, let's talk about what's happening now. Recent country entered into hyperinflation, or I should say, another country recently entered into hyperinflation. Let's talk about what's happening over in Sri Lanka. In Sri Lanka, we've got CPI, that's the Consumer Price Index, up over 50% last month, and that's also amid shortages of essentials. The next thing is going to be central bank intervention, and you notice how when there is hyperinflation, that the quote unquote solution is always more of what caused the problem. In this case, a big part of it was money creation, but it's also lack of goods. And that's what is another ingredient to hyperinflation. Shortages, right? So it's not all about money creation, it is about lack of production. And when you have lack of production or a drop off in production and an increase of money to spend via money being handed out to people, whether it's just handouts or loans from banks, people taking on debt, either way, it doesn't matter. The demand increases when people have more money to spend. And combine that lending, debt creation, handouts, whatever you want to call these things, with shortages, disruptions in shipping, and a lot of the things that we're seeing now across the globe, well, that you have hyperinflation follows. So imagine in the USA another 50% rise in the cost of living, and people are already nearly maxed out on debt. We talked about how the bankruptcy storm is likely going to be happening here within about 6 months, unless you see some sort of massive rescue program or debt forgiveness program that we've never seen. We are headed that direction here in the US. But what about hyperinflation? Well, let's take a look at some numbers here. And here's a chart that goes into very recent, as of looks like March of this year. And we see over the past few years, 3 or 4 years, the US has outpaced other countries in inflation. Countries here including Japan, France, Germany, the UK, right? And this is based on the CPI for all these countries. So the argument I often hear is, JJ, that can never happen here. We have the world's reserve currency. Well, look what's happening now. We're outpacing other countries now, some of these other countries, in inflation. And this is why we have the world reserve currency. So if it was all about the almighty dollar, the world reserve currency, the United States, the best country in the world, it can never happen here. Why are we already outpacing some of these other countries with the world reserve currency, the US dollar? Well, that's because it can happen here, and I think it will happen here. Now, a lot of people are predicting a collapse where the prices of everything are going to drop. Sure, the markets came down recently, but do you really think we're going to have a big surge in production across the globe that we can just keep importing things here to meet the needs of so many people, 300 plus million people here in the US? And also with shortages, we're going to see scenes like this in the US. Here's what's happening right now in Sri Lanka. Fuel crisis. People are waiting days to get fuel. One citizen says the following, quote, "I've been in line for 2 days already." Unquote. As a taxi driver, fuel is his lifeblood. When supplies are scarce, then you have massive numbers of people that go to where the supplies are. And of course, that's going to cause huge lines, huge waits, and backlogs. And the big head scratcher here is the solution always seems to be more money creation and assistance programs and payouts, but that's just going to make the problem worse. It's going to have more demand, so people will have now more money to spend on few goods and scarce items and commodities, and it's just going to bid the price up even more. And it's gotten so bad that even well-paid people in this country are out protesting. As Sri Lanka runs out of fuel, doctors and bankers protest this impossible situation. Also, the government there is telling government workers to work from home because of the fuel shortage. So what can we take out of this? Well, I think we should all be aware that this is very possible here. Even if you think the US is immune to these types of crises, continue to prepare. In my opinion, continue to stack. You can't go wrong having goods and items stored and ready to go in case there is a shortage. And even if you have too much of something, let's say you have 400, 500 cans of beans that can last you for years. Well, when it hits the fan, you may be able to barter those items, trade those items for something that you need. Maybe there'll be a shortage of beans, and maybe you'll be able to get a lot of goods or services or both from someone that needs those, from someone that doesn't have any food. Or maybe it's something else. Maybe you have a way to filter water. Maybe you live by a lake. Maybe you're in walking distance of a lake. I'm in walking distance of a lake, and I've been concerned about water shortages for a long time, especially being here in California. Some people say food is going to be the only valuable item. Other people say fuel shortages are going to hit in the United States, like we're seeing in some of these other countries now. And I definitely believe that also. I believe that fuel shortages are going to be here, and the scarcity and the lack of production and the demand, because people are still going to get money to spend via loans and via payouts. Uh, Rescue programs, we already have stimulus checks coming out here in California, up to $1,000 for families with kids. And that's going to keep the demand side of things moving. So people will still be able to buy things, but the price is going to go up and up and up as production continues to lag the demand. So I fully expect gas prices in California to go up to $8, $10, $12, $15 a gallon here. I'm not talking 20,000, 40. I'm talking about here in the next couple years. And I hope some of these economists are right. Some of these people out there that are talking about a crash, the price of everything is going to go down. That would be a better option, in my opinion. I would rather see a massive crash and deflation versus this very dangerous hyperinflation. And the way everything is priced now, another 50% could be the final blow to millions of people who are already on the edge financially. So, folks, keep stacking, keep preparing. Please let me know what you think down below. What are you doing to prepare? Or are you not concerned? Will this never happen here? If so, please let us know why. And that way we can all rest easy. We don't have to worry because you're going to give us the reason why it can never happen here. See you down in the comments, hopefully. Thanks, everybody. Be blessed. Appreciate all your support. Keep stacking. Peace.